mushrooms are, I don't think we've even mapped out all the killer mushrooms, because to map that out, people gotta like try them and stuff like that, and like people generally stick to mushrooms that are well known, you know, like so there's a number of mushrooms that are like, you can eat this, and then there's a number that this will kill you, and then there's some that people are like, you know, like we don't know, no one's ever tried one, you know, it's hard to know the toxicity of something until even after one eating, right? Like someone might eat it and you'd be like, oh, that's fine, and then like it might hurt someone else. So
it's called the destroying angel.
yeah. There's actually several kinds of mushroom that can kill you, like in a few days. Like they'll snuff you out pretty certainly if you eat one, but. Yeah, look at this. You've seen this in people's yards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, was it necessarily this species of mushroom? I don't know, but
Close enough.
like you've seen mushrooms that look like that anyway, right? So that was one of my biggest fears for my kids. Now I hope they're old enough not to do anything stupid, but like one of my biggest fears would be they'd be like, "Daddy, I got a mushroom," and come up with like a half-eaten, you know, like mushroom or something like that. You know.
I used to, we know our brothers used to do that as kids, but we were like Super Mario fans.
And you would eat?
We just do random stuff like pick up mushrooms and play with them and eat them and taste them. Like we were like really big Mario fans. So every mushroom we saw, we used to play with it.
You know the mushroom that makes you big? It's based on this, right? This is a mushroom that it's hallucinogenic, okay? But like the hallucinogenic property is much weaker than the poison property. So it's not a kill you mushroom, but it's give you a terrible couple days kind of mushroom. So it's actually legal, right? And people buy these. You can buy these off Amazon and eat them. They get high, right? But they have, you know, they're poisonous, right? So you're gonna have vomiting and diarrhea, and they taste awful, right? So you can read product reviews, and there's some of the best product reviews ever. Like people will be like me and my boyfriend had like 400 grams of this. We baked it in the oven for an hour because I heard it lessens the effect of it or whatever. And then we took it. I didn't get high, but we both had severe diarrhea and vomiting for 6 hours. I'll eat 800 grams next time. And you're like, what the heck? You're like, that wasn't enough. You want to up the dose? So what some people do to get high off of this mushroom, this is the length that people will go through to get high. People have some kind of Homo sapiens has some incomprehensible need to get high, no matter what the side effects. What some people do is the stuff that gets you high out of these mushrooms, it will go through the body, and the poison will not pass through the body, right? So you can use a living mammal as a filtering device, feed something like the mushroom, and then drink the urine that comes out, right? And the urine will have the hallucinogenic component in it, which, remember, is really weak, okay? We're talking about a really weak hallucinogen, small amounts.
Psilocybin,
yeah, psilocybin is definitely much, but psilocybin's illegal, right? So, you know, right? So this is legal. You can just order these off the
Well,
internet.
if somebody's stupid enough to try to get high, then there's...
Like really?
Well, I mean, this is also used like in shamanic rituals of cultures who didn't have
Yeah.
access to psilocybin or didn't know about psilocybin or whatever. Like they would feed it, you know, the shaman would feed this stuff to reindeer and then drink the reindeer's piss, you know. But like, I gotta imagine like how much reindeer piss do you have to guzzle before you can have a spirit journey off a week, you know.
He probably just did it by accident.
Yeah, I mean, how did people find that?
Makes me wonder what Bear Grylls was on.
Yeah, he was the original Bear Grylls. Right? Anyway, so fungi are, unlike plants and animals, both of which have in their definition that they're multicellular, fungi are not necessarily multicellular. And I'm glad you're still alive despite wandering around and eating mushrooms. That's a terrifying story. So there's nothing in their definition that says that they have to be multicellular. So obviously these guys are multicellular, but there's a whole category of fungi that are unicellular. And what do you think they're called? We have a name for that category. No, those are like another, those aren't fungi.
Like lichen or something.
No, lichens are fungi, but they're multicellular. So I'll give you a hint. It's something you got growing on you right now and something you can buy more of at the store. Different kinds of yeast, yeah. Yeasts are the unicellular fungi. All the word yeast means is unicellular fungi. So some of them are, good to eat and helpful, buddies of the human race, and some of them are skin-eating pathogens that, affect everybody and, make people uncomfortable and stuff like that, right? So what the word yeast means is just a single-celled organism that's a fungus, right? So they have chitin cell walls like a fungus. They practice extracellular digestion like a fungus, which means they exude digestive enzymes into their surroundings and then absorb the digested material into themselves. So that's the fungi in a nutshell. All right. So what if you have an organism that doesn't seem to fit into one of these groups? Like, what if you have something that runs around and eats stuff, but it's single-celled, right? Or what if you have a photosynthetic cellulose cell wall organism with plastids, but it doesn't feed its offspring? What kingdom do those things fall into?
Okay.
Nope. Archaeans are prokaryotes. So I'm talking about eukaryotes. Protists. Yeah.
Protists,
The
yeah.
protists are organisms that they're eukaryotes. They're in domain eukarya, and they might fill several of these qualifications to be an animal, plant, or fungus, but they don't fill all of them, right? So because they don't fit all of them, we dump them into Protista. And really, people who study Protista feel that it should probably be several kingdoms because it's not like one group that holds them together. We just use Protista as what's called a waste bin taxon, right? When you nicely categorize everything, and then you got a pile of stuff that's like that won't fit in, and you just like dump it off the table into the waste bin taxon. So we have things like slime molds, right? Slime molds like this, in some aspects, they are a lot like mold. Like right here, they're making fruiting bodies that seem in some ways like how mold puts up spore-bearing structures, right? So they can seem very mold-like at times, like right here, but they can seem very not mold-like at other times, like here, or these ones crawling up a beer can, right? That's not a normal, behavior you would see in fungi, like climbing up a beer can to see what's inside or whatever. Solving mazes is not, something that we normally see fungi doing. So they have some fungal characteristics, but other fungal characteristics are lacking. So where do we stick them? Well, we just call it Protista, right? And sometimes they get up into a heap that's like naked eye visible and just sort of crawl around as like the actual blob, right? So they're a very diverse group of organisms. Also in the slime molds, you have, of course, things like amoebas, right, and paramecium. But you even have great big creatures like bull kelp, right? Great big seaweeds and things like that can be over 100 feet long. Okay, they're definitely multicellular, almost plants in so many ways, but in a few characteristics that are of interest to taxonomists and stuff like that, they don't quite make the grade into plants, so they're put into. Many taxonomists will put this into Protista. All right. Okay. Within the Protista, we have different groups, right? Like the protozoans are animal-like protists, right? And then we have the fungus-like protists, which include both the slime molds and the water molds, right? The water molds being like nasty, fuzzy things that attack things, but like they have cellulose cell walls instead of chitin cell walls, and they have different, several differences in their biology, so they don't quite match the definition we set forth for fungi. So we've got, what about the photosynthetic protists? What do we call that group?
Cyanobacteria?
No, those are protists. Sorry, no, those are not protists. Those are prokaryotes. So cyanobacteria are photosynthetic bacteria. Okay. What about the photosynthetic eukaryotes of kingdom Protista?
Algae.
Algae. Yes, they are the algae. So this is an alga right here, a very big multicellular alga, but you know, this might be, you know, unicellular, right? So, right here, you've got stuff like that, unicellular green cells that can swim around. Some of them are able to move and things like that. So these can be algae as well. So as you can see, algae is a very diverse group. It can be the green stain on some part of your wall that's constantly kept wet, right? It might develop a little bit of a green tinge on it. That might be algae. It can be the green stuff growing in the aquarium on the walls. That can be algae as well. Or it can be full-on seaweed, kelp, and things like that can also be algae. So all the autotrophic protists are called that. Okay. We'll use the exact language for the test. Okay. The earliest plants. Okay. The simplest plants just match this definition that I set forth there. Cellulose cell walls and stuff like that. But they don't have several structures. So they don't have root stems and leaves because they lack what? Vasculature. Yes, they lack vasculature. Okay. They don't have seeds, right? They just drop their spores. They don't have flowers or fruit. Okay. So the bryophytes. What group of plants are the bryophytes? Dredge those ancient files that you've allowed to fall into the back corners.
They're
of the...
not land plants.
No, they are land
They
plants.
are land
Bryophytes.
I mean, they're mosses.
Mosses are bryophytes. Yeah, mosses, hornworts, and liverworts. Those are the bryophytes. And bryophytes have no vasculature, no seeds, no flowers, no fruit, none of that stuff. Right? But they are plants. Okay. So. There's a number of interesting bryophytes and everything like that. Have blogs of just photos of weird bryophytes and things like that. Incredibly strange looking ones and so forth. So the bryophytes are, all of them are small without exception because of their lack of, that is not a bryophyte. They have a lack of vasculature, so they have to stay within a microclimate, right? They have to stay within a damp microenvironment, you know, like the area right next to the soil where the rain will sort of splatter the water around and everything like that. They have to stay right there. If they grow too tall, the tips will dry out, right? So they have to stick close to surfaces and things like that. They can't grow out very far. So then the next thing we have from here, from the bryophyta, we develop what advance? What's the first advance of those advances that we get? Vasculature, right? And then we get into what group of plants has vasculature but doesn't have seeds, flowers, or fruits? Ferns, yeah. Club mosses, because club mosses are not mosses, and ferns. And you can see that the ferns get much bigger than the mosses, than the true mosses and so forth, because they have real stems, right? And their leaves have real veins going through them, right? They also have true roots and so forth. And they have all that because of vasculature. So that allows them to get physically larger. You even have magnificent